Great. Everybody, welcome to the December 12th, 2019 meeting of the Penfield Planning Board, our last meeting of the year. Lori, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Hetzke.
Here.
Bastian.
Here.
Nauer.
Here.
Tidings.
Here.
Burton.
Here.
Nursinger.
Here.
Sangster.
Here.
O'Connor.
Here.
Weishart.
Here.
Gray. Here.
All right. We have meeting minutes from the November 7th meeting. Hopefully everybody's had the opportunity to review them. Anybody want to move to approve?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Burton and Bastian.
Hetzke.
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Burton.
Aye.
Nauer.
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye. All right, Zach, if you'd like to take over and at least go through our agenda items.
Yeah, we'll
please.
try to stay in order. I know we'll probably go off script a little bit on the agenda here, just with our guests in the audience tonight. The first thing we'll talk about is our first table application at the Simutech project in Panorama Park. Last time the board met, everyone was pretty satisfied with what was presented on the site plan. One thing that you were asking for was input from the architectural consultant, which we did get a memo early this week. We forwarded that to you earlier this week. And since then, as of today, we did receive responses from the applicant. They have essentially agreed to all the recommendations of our consultant, and they have provided those in writing. We handed those out to you in your packet tonight. We also have this rendering, this elevation drawing shown here, which incorporates those changes, which includes a lot of the, let me just go back through this.
Yeah, the horizontal belt and stuff.
Yes, the horizontal and vertical, the scoring. The one thing they felt that they still wanted to maintain was basically the framing on the windows, the color of that. Our consultant recommended a black anodized trim on those windows. They're still preferring to keep it's not as dark, but the trim that they proposed originally on the windows. Which was
Don't have a problem with it.
yeah, and I didn't see that as an issue.
So I do want to point out that in our discussion, we also asked them to address some uniformity of sign monuments. So as the complex grows, we don't have kind of a disparity of design elements for monument signs. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we neglected to ask them to look at that, or if they didn't comment, but it's not a deal breaker, but maybe at some point in the future. And as you get the application for the sign package, we have another dialogue about that.
I agree with that, and I apologize. I don't have any information on that, other than I know that the applicant, their current plan is to rely on using the buildings, just with either basic numbering on the buildings, so that those are consistently identifiable, and then the tenants kind of have their own signage on the doors and or on the window or something, so that once a customer is there, they know where to go.
So if that's what they choose to do, then maybe we could discuss some uniformity of that plan as the number of buildings and the different kinds of buildings around the complex advances.
Yep. And I think we can certainly include that in a condition of the draft approval that was provided to you about the sign package that comes in, and if it's that could be something this board reviews in a work session when that becomes available, just to document that it's in continuity with the rest of the project. And just to speak to that, part of our request to our consultant was to talk about this building versus the first one, and he agreed that the designs are in harmony with one another, especially for that of a business park, which is what this project is.
And I think it sets the tone for going forward with future applications, and it also gives the applicant an opportunity to use that in dealing with future tenants as they develop.
Yep. So yeah, I think it was a good response by the applicant. It was what the board had asked for. We will get the information as it develops on the monument signs or sign packages as they come through, just to make you aware of it, or if there are any feedback in the future as that develops. I know the applicant did bring some color materials if you want to see those for those adjustments. They were identified in the letter of what they would be, which is the darker and lighter colors in the same kind of color palette that we looked at originally. They are here in the audience tonight if you'd like to ask them about that. It's up to you guys, or if you're satisfied with.
That's the only rendering that we have right now?
Yes.
And I believe, Rich, you have another rendering if you wanted to show it.
So, again, it's a printer type thing, so the colors are not perfect.
Sure.
But they're close, I think, you know, I mean, we've incorporated virtually everything that the architectural
Chris.
consultant, you know, he had some good ideas. We were always going to put the vertical reveals on there, and they just didn't show up on the last plan. But I think everything that he did, is something that we can live with. I think it was good, you know, it was good input.
That looks good.
Yeah, I think sharp. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
All right.
So with that, again, seeker was completed with the overall project of this under our overall project earlier this year. So this project, if there are no other questions, concerns from the board, or discussion you want to have, you have a draft approval that you can act on, and we will include the condition that Jim spoke to about signage in the resolution.
Does anybody have any other matters of concern for this moment?
No.
Okay. I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Bastian.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Okay, and I just have a quick update for your other tabled application. It's at 1549 Empire Boulevard, the Children's Dyslexia Center of Rochester. The applicant and the town engineer, they met with the town board last night in its work session to request a variance from the town design criteria to allow for a 20-foot wide drive aisle along the side of the property and the side of the house leading to the rear parking area that's proposed. The town board did grant that. It has to be applied to the plan still, and they are still working with the DOT on the final layout of the entrance. But we have had a meeting with the DOT, and the applicant has been communicating with them. We're just waiting to see a final layout of what everything's going to look like before it gets back to this board at a future meeting. So tonight, if there aren't any questions about the project still, we can just do a continued table motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion unless somebody's got some other
Anybody
comments.
have any questions or comments?
No. No.
Okay, so moved. Second.
Second.
You're going to yield to Bob? All right.
Mike already covered
Tidings
it.
and Canower.
Let's step up to Dean.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, what else we got here? So, if you'd like, just get it on the audience, we can bring up the guest, or you want me to hit the other things?
We go through those other things fast so
Sure.
that we can not have to
So, we have,
rush.
yep, we have 4 other things to talk about briefly. Well, 3 quick ones, and then we have 1 guest to bring before you tonight. The 3 things that I just want to talk about quickly are Penfield Storage, that project at 1677 Penfield Road. We provided you a letter from them. They are requesting a reapproval of their site plan as you last saw it, which included the 3-story structure at the rear of at the middle of the property for all storage, and the single-story building up front, along with the additions on the existing buildings on that site plan. Their 1 year came up, and they have requested a reapproval of that. They're also going to go back to the zoning board just to clean up their area variances to document the numbers that they need now. They are all less than what they originally came in with, so they're going to
Okay.
clean that up. They're just requesting a reapproval of their site plan
How
so they
much
can
time
get
they
started.
asking for?
Reapproval gives them 1 year. which is they have their financing in line. They are looking to break ground this spring.
Okay, good.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
1-year extension.
Bastian, Canower.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
Okay, and the other two of the three that I mentioned, they are new business items. One is for a plat map on Parkview. Carl, could you just, yeah, I mean, you have it in there. At 26 and 30 Parkview Drive, one of the neighbors is asking to move a lot line to basically allow the lower property a larger backyard due to the topography out there. It allows them to have access to what is a flat area that I think they've just been using over time, and it's a neighborly action to be like, yes, we'd love to give you this land so you can keep using it. And they're just,
domain.
huh? No, there's another
Squatters'
one. It's more of that. That's adverse possession. I was looking for that.
Sounds like a
Anybody have,
Permissive.
somebody want to move it?
I'll move.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second. Looks good.
And that grants AJ to sign off on that map, which they have provided.
Bastian, Canower again.
Hetzke,
They're on a roll. Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
All right.
And next one is for Glendoveers, that project for the parking expansion that was previously approved by this board.
They want an extension?
We have to stop talking for a moment because I forgot about
Mr.
that.
Chairman, I will recuse myself from this matter, please.
Yeah, just go over there for a second.
Plug your ears. They're asking for a site plan extension. They are preparing their letter of credit. However, again, the 1-year extension came up. It comes up this month, so they're asking for another extension because they are planning to at least start phase 1 of the earthwork to regrade that hill this year.
Any reason why we shouldn't?
None that I'm
Staff
aware.
has?
None that I'm aware of.
All right.
I'll make the motion.
Would you like to do a 180 days or a year?
A year.
Yeah, let's do a year.
Okay.
Okay.
So moved by
Tidings.
Tidings,
I'll second.
second by Bastian.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
Okay. Welcome back, Mr. Burton.
Maybe Jim left that.
So, our last item for the work session, and we have a guest in the audience tonight to present what they're proposing to you as a potential project in Parkside Commons for a new Starbucks building to replace the former, I think, Canandaigua National, and First Niagara.
Bank.
The signs look the same to me in my brain, and also former Verizon building out there. We have a overlay plan of what that looks like. They provide you a letter of intent. Doug, do you have the site plan too? That one. Let's start with that. And they're here tonight to talk to you about this project for a few minutes and ask which direction you'd like to go in terms of reviewing this, whether it goes through concept or to a final site plan review at a future meeting date, given that this is a existing commercial plaza where they're requesting to take down a building and construct a new one. So, with that being said,
We got,
10 minutes.
yeah, 12 minutes.
Perfect.
And you guys are welcome to come up to the table too.
Good evening, everybody. My name is James Pudicos. I'm with BME Associates. This is Fred Rinaldi. He's the applicant. Like Zach mentioned, what we're looking to do is to demo this existing building and then replace it with a new prototype Starbucks building. We're going to look to reconfigure the parking lot for the drive-through and redo some of the parking. So as Zach mentioned, we're kind of looking for just preliminary input for you guys on, the approval process or any concerns or anything you guys might want us to look into in advance of the application. We'd be looking to submit sometime for review in first quarter of next year. Fred did bring a couple renderings of what the intent of the building is going to look like that we just prepared. So we'll pass those around if you guys can get a feel for it.
Square footage wise, similar, bigger, smaller?
What is it,
26.
26,000? So it's a little bit bigger than,
600.
or 2,600, I'm sorry.
Or 26,000.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, 50 stories high.
Flagship Starbucks.
So yes, it's a little bit bigger than the existing building. We're basically keeping the drive-through that was there from the bank in the kind of the same configuration. There are a couple constraints on the site in terms of obviously access drives, as well as a town-dedicated sewer that basically cuts north-south through the parking lot. So that does limit a little bit of what we can do with building positioning. We felt that this conceptual layout was the best to keep traffic circulation relatively consistent, as well as minimize stacking potential conflicts, with some of those perimeter drives.
An aerial of today. Just as a little, there we go.
You provide Zach with a copy of this?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And there's some philosophy behind the way that the building's oriented, which mirrors where they see their business going with regards to things like the mobile ordering, other technology, the way that people interface in communities with similar makeups like the town of Penfield. Just that they're scientific in the way that they design the store layout. The neat thing is, although James, this is within their new modern outlay, but there's some details in here that are unique to the site. So it's a new version, but it'll be nicer than what you would consider their prototype.
So what are some of the new and innovative things, or can't you disclose those?
Well, they're spending a lot of time making the access and use and enjoyment of the mobile ordering not a tech savvy type thing. They want everybody to be indoctrinated. They're going to great lengths to widen the range of age of people who are enjoying that. It allows for a little more of a dynamic play with the way that they build out the bar. We just finished a pretty extensive renovation of ours out in Victor, New York, and it's fun watching the way, just the little changes, watching the way people interface with the building. One of the benefits here in Victor, I have virtually no glass. It's in a building that was built in 1836. Here we have significant amounts of glass, which allow people to make decisions. You'll see that the way that we have the parking lane running north-south, if somebody sees that there might be a stacking or queuing,
They might decide to go in?
to go in. And that's why you see that run of parking that runs along there. The other thing is that if you've been to the plaza as of recent, we've really been going out of our way to improve landscaping and our interface with the park that's just to the west of us, which will include hiking trail connections and other features like that. So the way that the patio is it's not fixed where we showed in here. And in fact, they very much like it to be brought back to the front, which allows us some range in green space. We can modify in.
So wait a minute. In the photo, the patio is in the front, wasn't it?
Right.
And,
So in the photo, it's reminiscent of their goals.
what they want to do.
Yes, in the plan.
And here it's on the
It's-
north end?
It's on the north end, so you'd likely see them looking to pull, and they don't feel that they have to have a incredibly large patio. Here they
Right.
would like to have just a really beautiful layout, so it gets used. Well, and because of the way that the front door is positioned and the amount of glass, you don't feel excommunicated from the space when you're sitting out on the patio, which is important to them.
So they're gonna sell espresso to patrons and then let them march throughout the community when they're all hopped up?
Yeah, is that really responsible?
Absolutely. I couldn't imagine surviving any other way.
So
Okay.
you're pulling in and out and backing out into the traffic.
That is the current configuration. Yeah, we actually wanted to, inquire about potentially doing some more parking along that perimeter access drive. I don't know if you can zoom out a little bit on an aerial, but obviously that does connect to the plaza to the north, where there's an entrance that comes in from there. So we've still been, toying around with the fine details of the layout. We've explored a couple different ideas, including making a secondary access point to the north of the Valvoline there, right along the property line. Just to give a
Out
little
to
bit.
250?
No, not onto 250, just north of the, so you can come to the,
Access road there?
yeah, just so you can have potentially
Send
some
it on the
other,
green.
yeah, right there.
It'd be an additional internal circulation
Right.
loop, essentially.
Kind of like a bypass,
Okay.
if they're stacking in the drive-through, they would do like a bit of a pavement swap somewhere else to allow a new drive lane between the access road and the back parking.
You go back to the
Site plan.
site plan. Whoops.
You say right here.
So we're talking like
Oh,
right here,
Oh, to
just,
the north.
yeah, to the north of it.
So-
Is this one access?
This, right now, this is a two-way, so you can come in,
Wait, I mean, don't come in through here.
right, or they could come around and go that way as well.
Parking on the west side of the building.
So this is not a photo rendering of what you intend to build. This is a photo representation of another
No, this is,
concept?
no, this is actually what we intend to build. This is actually on the site.
That's
Yeah, so here's the Valvoline in the back, right there.
I'm sorry, I should have cleared it. So this is.
That's not what they intend to build.
Right, the difference between this photo and that is really just the patio moving from the north side of the building down just to the east in the
So there won't be
frontage
two
there.
locations for outdoor
No, sir.
No.
parking, just the one
Correct.
Correct.
on the east side.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, east, southeast. Yep. Right,
Will there
right to
be
southeast.
less parking or the same amount is shown in that? So
For,
if you move the patio to the east side, does it only occupy that green space in the southeast
I think
corner?
that's what we would
Or-
initially try to do, just, and, make sure Starbucks is okay with
This looks like
the
there's
size of
kind
it.
of a cantilever.
The parking right in front of the front door, the accessible spaces is pretty important to them as well.
It's a bit of a canopy. So this is north and that's south. So on the south end there is a nice little. There's kind of it doesn't
So the
continue
roof structure's cantilevered
over the patio. Yep.
over the footprint of the building property.
Correct.
All right, so we got 4 minutes to wrap this up.
So if the question
The
is,
question is, can they come in for preliminary final, or do we need to come in for sketch, right?
That is the
That's our
question,
question.
yes. That was the purpose
What do
of
you
this
guys think?
meeting.
I don't see any reason why they can't come in for preliminary
We
final.
just did sketch.
That's,
It's pretty low impact.
It is an existing plaza, existing building. You were replacing a building in the plaza with a different use. Both, the one now does have a drive-through, was for a bank. Obviously, a different intensity to that drive-through with this proposal, but we talked in
So-
previous meetings about at least making sure you've got your traffic in order, at least with some sort of analysis of the area, and making sure that parking is still maintained in the plaza overall, and running those numbers as you prepare the plans. Those are the two things that kind of stood out to us as we reviewed this as staff. And then just making sure you have the stacking you need. And I think it's a good idea of that
and there are
bypass lane you
concerns
talked
about the backing out onto the drive lane.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because right now, there's no parking like that.
Well, the other
Correct.
structures within that service road loop in and out.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So consistent with those expectations, we've engaged Frank Dolan of Bergman Associates to build a stage scoping document, which includes several things: internal circulation, safety measures, and then a pretty significant projected growth, because what Starbucks is doing right now is they're building 20 and 30 and 40-year stores. I just got back from the real estate convention in New York specifically to meet with them on this topic. They are beyond scientific with the way that they're approaching their new locations, and if you remember that we've gone through this once with them on this very site.
Is this going to have any impact on the amount of traffic they get down the street?
They're very excited about this. I enjoy the chase and what I do in trying to find tenants. We met halfway.
So, but do you think that this is going to decrease traffic on 441?
It's going to create a healthy kind of value proposition where they're going to see a different routine. The nice thing about that location, they've designed it, it's very, people spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, they do.
They spend a lot of time there, and and I go there quite a bit. People vie for seats often. There's a lot of really awesome community things. There's a lot, because it's so close to the school. You have a lot of youth that are using the facilities there, hopefully for studying. They're excited to have the trade area partition is not too far away from that store, so they feel that the impact would be to the routine and the use of it, and it wouldn't challenge the sales.
Same owner?
Yes, sir.
Same owner from this store?
They're all corporate. Yeah, they're all corporate. So
yes.
They don't
Yeah,
franchise.
yeah. It's all corporate, and actually, so Gal, who opens all of them, would be in charge of this. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? We got about 3 minutes to get up.
Sounds like everyone's comfortable with the preliminary final application. We'll let the minutes reflect that. And
I'll make
there's
the
no
motion.
vote necessary. We'll just do it in the minutes, and then I'll get in touch with them about getting the applications ready for submittal.
Perfect.
All right?
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the time.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. So we will recess for about 2 minutes to get up to the dais for our public hearing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December 12th meeting of the Penfield Planning Board 2019. We'll start the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone, for coming. We have 2 items on our agenda this evening, and if you're not familiar with our way our process works, applicant will present to the planning board their idea or their application for the project. Board members will ask questions, and then we'll open it up to the audience, and we welcome public participation. It's the main reason for the public hearing. So if you do have a comment, once we get to that portion of the hearing, if you just raise your hand, I'll call you up. Please go up to the podium and state your name and address for the record, and then address your comments to the board. With that, Zach, would you please read the first item?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Application number 1, Thomas Forgione, 1085 State Road, Webster, New York, 14580, requests under Chapter 250, Article 11-11.2 of the Code of the Town of Penfield for preliminary final subdivision approval for a 2-lot subdivision of the 20-acre property located at 1085 State Road. The property is now or formerly owned by Thomas and Patricia Forgione and zoned RR1. Application number 19P-0027, SBL number 094.04-01-16.2. All yours, Tom.
Basically, as Zach stated, I'm requesting subdivision approval.
Could you
For a
just
2-lot
introduce yourself
subdivision.
quick
I'm sorry.
and name and address? if you don't mind?
I'm sorry. I'm Tom Forgione, 1085 State Road. And I'm here requesting a subdivision approval for the 2-lot subdivision of my 20-acre property located at 1085 State Road. It's currently 20 acres and has a 2-story frame house, in-ground pool, shed, and a separate metal barn, which is to remain with the remaining lands as on there. The intent of this proposal is to create a lot containing 1 acre located at the northeasterly corner of the existing property. Right here. And no development is proposed at this time on that lot. The property lies within the zone RR1, and the proposal, as I see it, complies with all the minimum setbacks and areas required within this zone. and we will not be seeking any variances for this project. That's basically what the proposal is.
Okay. So you don't plan to build anything currently
No,
on the property?
on that new 1 acre, no.
Just going up for, do you have a buyer or?
Not for that. No, the 1 acre at this point is, I'm just going to keep it for myself if I decide to build there.
Okay.
Could sell it, one of my kids could build there, I'm not sure. It's going to be in my portfolio for a while, I think is a good way to say it.
Okay. Questions?
Pretty straightforward. You did mention that if you did decide to build there, there will be no variance required?
Not that I can see.
Okay, so you meet all the setback requirements for 1 acre?
I'm sorry.
You meet all the setback requirements
Yes.
then? Okay.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Would anyone in the audience like to comment on this application? Okay,
Okay,
thank you for coming.
thank you, thanks for your time.
Okay, Zach, item number 2.
Application number 2, Warren R. McGrail, Land Surveyor, 1945 East Ridge Road, Suite 8A, Rochester, New York, 14622, on behalf of George Carrot of Carrot Homes. Request under Chapter 250, Articles 11-11.2 and 12-12.2 of the Code of the Town of Penfield for preliminary final subdivision and site plan approval for a 4-lot residential subdivision of a 3.29 acre parcel located at 1751 Baird Road. The property is now or formerly owned by Robert Salmon and Catherine Fuller and zoned R120. Application number 19P-0028, SBL number 124.01-2-17.21. All yours, George.
Good evening, Board. George Carrot, President of Carrot Homes, with offices in 448 Titus Ave in Rondequoit. I am currently under contract for 1751 Baird Road, corner of Legacy Circle. Pending your approval, my plan would be to take the approximate 4 acres of land and make it 4 building lots.
George, we might have a standalone microphone or handheld
Is it
on the
under?
podium,
Right inside.
so that it's more comfortable for you to
Okay.
look at the map and,
It's not on, I'll,
oh, I guess never mind that.
can you hear me, Brian?
We're good? Okay. Pardon that technical difficulty.
It's a rectangular piece of land, and our plan is to have 2 frontage lots on Baird Road with then 2 1-acre lots off Legacy Circle. So these 2 would have access directly off Baird. These 2 would have access off Legacy. I could have, according to zoning, gone for 5, possibly 6 lots. When I was negotiating with the owner of the land, he liked the proposal I came up with of only 4 lots. We're not cramming too many homes on that piece of land, which I would hope the neighbors would appreciate. I hope possibly to build on one of the 2 bigger ones myself, if things work out that way. Unfortunately, tonight, the engineer could not be here. He just got back from vacation, so I'm going to try to answer any questions you may have regarding it. We had a meeting yesterday with Zach at the town. We went over a few things. We agreed. We thought it would work out better with the utilities for this 3rd lot. Instead of going through the big mound of what they have there as decoration or landscape, we'd move it over and come straight out and try to get everything to work out this side of the mound without disturbing the mound. My intentions are not to disturb that mound unless absolutely necessary, and then I would, of course, try to put it back together or maintain it the way I found it.
George, are you saying that the approximate location of the building and garage as shown on this plan would move?
This one would not move, possibly move over a little bit.
A little bit to the left?
But as you see, he showed the water and sewer coming off to the side and going directly through
Yeah.
that big mound out there. Zach and I, we felt that it would make more sense if it came out this way, and if I had to disrupt the end of the mound, I'm a lot better off in the end than trying to go through that big mound. From what I understand, there may be a nice big pile of rocks that I'll have to
In the
contend
middle of
with. It may have, I think that it was used for the former developer's berry pit for rocks.
Quite a possibility.
Yeah,
More of
So-
a berry mound.
So,
yeah.
so the flag getting to the back lot then would have a series of utility easements.
Here. Well, no, because as you can see how the lot is,
It's hard to see it, we're
yeah.
looking at a
He,
small screen
he,
here.
this, if you can follow my finger, this is this lot. This land belongs to this lot. So there's no actual easements on someone else's lot.
Utilities will be in the flag,
So
the
they'd be
narrow part.
The flag part of it, so.
Yeah.
Those two lots, would they share that driveway off of Legacy Circle?
That was another thing we discussed yesterday. We're gonna try to make this work. The only thing they were sharing was what was in the right-of-way. If you can see on, I don't, do you have, you don't have the maps in front of you then?
They do.
They do. If you can see here, as soon as you get off the right-of-way, his driveway is on his lot. So technically, no, they weren't shared, except for the access in on the right-of-way. So what we're going to try to do is have two driveways next to each other where they each own them. I don't want a shared driveway agreement. Nobody likes them. They're nothing but a pain. So we're going to try to avoid that. There was a list of concerns that the town came up with that my engineer started to address, but we couldn't get everything answered, and we're going to be working on that next.
Okay. Bill, do you have
Do
questions?
these homes have basements?
Of course. Yeah.
Because if I recall, when they put in Legacy Circle, the bedrock was an issue.
Well, then we'll have to use a whole ram and break it.
Yeah, I even remember Rudy saying that they would have to maybe hand dig some of them.
I'm sorry?
Rudy, I think it was Rudy that put that in, that they would hand dig if they had to some of the basements, just so, not to, because of the depth of the bedrock. It's not very far
Hand
down.
dig? I never heard of that.
That's what he said at the
There
hearing.
have been some pretty significant problems with water intrusion into some of those basements
Okay,
um,
because of the rock?
because of the rock.
Okay.
So something that you're going to want to consider and something that we may want to consider.
Well, one thing we did discuss as well yesterday is in the back corner, which we weren't aware of, this is a storm easement all the way down the back of the property. There is a inlet there that we will tie the sump pumps for these two. Actually, Zach suggested I extend it all the way to here, which I'm willing to do. And then we can tie the sump pump for this one into this and this one into that.
Will there be any variances required, especially for the two lots on Baird?
Zoning variances?
Yeah,
No.
they meet all setback.
Everything meets setbacks, yep.
Zach, does the town still require storm conductors for downspouts?
No, the downspouts are allowed to go to splash block now. The DEC changed the regulations on that in the past couple of years. So really just the sump pumps are required to be tied in.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone in the audience like to comment on this application? Yes, come on up, please.
I'm Stacy Spout.
You got to come up to the podium.
I'm Stacy Spoto. I'm both a resident on Legacy Circle and a realtor here in town. And I just wanted to convey that at least I very adamantly support this. I think Mr. Crott builds a beautiful home, and they will certainly be in keeping with what's happening on Legacy Circle. So I just wanted to add my support.
How nice of you to say.
Thank you. Just for the record, your address, and go ahead.
43 Legacy Circle.
And can you possibly comment on if you've had any water issues in your basement or
We have such a
neighbors?
dry basement that we actually have to pour water into our sump pump to keep it from seizing. But we're at the back end, we're on the cul-de-sac, and we have a very dry basement. If you want to plant a bush, you will hit bedrock. So there is certainly the big boulder issue, but our basement is bone dry.
Any talk from the neighbors about that?
3 of the neighbors reached out to me and said, what do we think? And I expressed to them that I thought it was a great project.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else in the audience like to guess? Come on up.
Tim Kelly, 1766 Baird Road. I guess I'm just curious. I don't know enough about the project other than I just found out about this a week ago, but what the benefit is to the town. I mean, I've, in the last 6 years, seen Sparrow Point built, farmland right over on Atlantic built, and I'm kind of curious as to what point we're going to stop tearing down woodland and the nature that we have in Penfield for more homes. I mean, it's great. I obviously have a nice little private spot right across the street from where you're building, so.
You're across the street?
Yep, 1766. So I look directly at woods. I have a nice little private spot, and it's, I'm against it, just not knowing exactly what's involved, how it's going to look. I know nothing about the project other than there's going to be homes that I'm looking at now instead of nice greenery of Penfield, so. And I'd also love to hear the town's concerns that were on that list too, if that's available.
That is available. Zach can tell you how you can, you're talking about the PRC comments, the
Yes,
Project
that the
Review Committee?
engineer's gonna address. Yeah.
I can summarize those for you. Those
Sure.
comments are primarily technical comments regarding the engineering,
Okay.
which the applicant said they're working to revise those. Those are things that is standard
Yeah.
for this process as a subdivision. I can tell you that one of those comments, and we've discussed that with them, is identifying a limits of disturbance line on the property to see, you know, what will be cleared in order to make the grading work so that drainage isn't a problem there for both that property and neighbors, because no project is allowed to be constructed in town that's going to negatively impact neighbors for drainage.
Okay.
They have to treat everything on site, and that's why he discussed bringing a catch basin into the property to treat that. But again, a lot of those comments are largely technical with regards to a lot of the details that you see spread around that sheet there, that we just have to issue those comments with regards to our design criteria for all projects. If you'd like to see a copy of it, you can submit a FOIL request to the town clerk's office and ask for the town's, it's called a PRC memo.
Yep.
And you can ask for that through the town clerk's office, and we can certainly provide you with that if you'd like to take a look at it.
Okay, will do.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, would anyone else like to comment on this application?
George, are you going to build homes similar to your track?
Yes. For anyone on the board isn't familiar with me, I built the majority of Jewelberry Drive off of Hatch Road. I've been there 20 years. We just have one lot left, but I was proud at the end of the homes that were built there. I always took my time and put nice-looking homes, a lot of specs I put up, but what I'm paying for this land and what's involved, the front lots here are going to have to start high threes, if not in the fours, more likely in the fours. These two, 400,000 point. These two in the back, I'm projecting anywhere from 5 on up, 500,000 up. So there'll be comparable for what's on Legacy Circle. And I found this, and I want to continue building in the town. I enjoyed building in the town, and I think it's a great town, and I was happy to find this, and I just hope everything works out.
Okay, great, thank you. Anyone else? Comments? I'm good. Anyone else in the audience? Okay.
I gotta say, this was pretty painless. I didn't know what I was gonna walk into today. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for coming, and we'll call this hearing closed. Have a great Christmas holiday season. And I'm gonna say action, so,
Yeah, here we go, roll it.
okay,
Where would you like to start?
let's start with the first one.
All right, we'll go to State Road, two-lot subdivision of 20-acre property. As the applicant thoroughly explained, they are just proposing to create a 1-acre parcel up front in what is basically untouched, unmowed land. That's just there and available for him. He's planning to sell the home and the 19 acres off the backside and keep that for the future.
So the only comment I have is that it's unusual for somebody to come to us with something like that without showing us what the buildable area is on the lot. So he made a verbal comment that he's not requesting any variances, but for the public record, it would be nice, if we approve this project, that the public record shows that there's a buildable area that reserves all of the setbacks on there.
Yeah, can you pull up the site plan?
Somebody buys this,
Plat map?
they're gonna end up with that
A
map.
buildable lot.
Yeah, I believe, and I know we mentioned variances a couple times on there. Yeah, one thing we will request before this map is finalized is that they show the applicable setbacks from the zoning district, but they have provided a lot dimension that does comply with the code, something that's a
Right.
minimum 150
Yeah, it's
feet
just-
wide.
You know what happens, people come in and then all of a sudden they, well,
Yep.
this was approved. So, this is a no-brainer. I would move to approve this, and when AJ signs the Mylar, you have the setback lines on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any other questions, comments of the board? No. So with that being
Second.
said, well, hold on, slow down. Wait, everyone slow down.
Wait for
We did provide the completed EAF for this project for the subdivision request, along with, and with that being said, that would grant your approval, and we would finalize a resolution to send to them. So we do need those two votes as usual.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the EAF.
Thank you.
So,
Bastian with the second.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Burton,
aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
And we'll give you the first because you already started it. So we got Burton on the first to approve the project. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Number
Our
two.
second and final item of the night is the 4-lot subdivision we just heard in the public hearing on Baird Road. As the applicant stated, this is it's just under a 4-acre property in a R120 zoning district. Standard lots are typically 20,000 square feet. He does have a corner lot here that is the required 25,000 square feet, and the back two properties are in excess of an acre. So, as he said, there could have been more lots, but in an attempt to keep this in the harmony of the neighborhood that is Legacy Circle, offering larger premium lots on the back side. They are, our primary concern from staff as PRC was drainage improvements. As you can see on this layout, and that's not on, this area is extremely flat on the proposed grading. That was part of our comment, was this is a utility easement for stormwater drainage back here. It serves the general area. It actually drains out Legacy Circle and sends it north. We talked to the applicant yesterday about potentially bringing a catch basin here and maybe further up the line here to pick up any sump pumps from these homes as well. But we're looking to get some drainage improvements in this area so that there are no issues in the future. We do know that bedrock is out there. They're only allowed to blast for utilities. They cannot blast for the foundation, so they would have to hole ram it if they had to.
He knows that.
Yep. So, they are working to revise the entrance off Legacy Circle. This is a dedicated road. We do have a right-of-way here. They are looking to eliminate the shared drive and provide 2 private drive, dedicated entrances to these 2 homes in the back. Everything up on Baird Road is standard layout of what we would see, for
I can't see
those
this.
homes.
What are the proposed first floor elevations for these 2 lots in the back, relative to the contours closest to the buildings?
We got garage finished floor is, what did I say,
No, not the
490?
garage, the house. They
Oh.
didn't give you one?
Basement foundation?
No, first floor.
We got, well, this,
Doesn't
I'm gonna
say.
go with,
Yeah, garage doesn't matter, there's
It
no
is
basement underneath it.
right, it is lower. Probably another comment that we asked for in the PRC memo. It was a long memo. We can obtain that information and get it on the
Yeah,
plan.
I mean, like,
It's not gonna be a lot higher than the garage, I wouldn't think.
Just,
Couple steps?
but
2 feet.
raising the entire building up, when you have shallow rock like that, and we know this is a very problematic area of the
Yeah.
town, similar to the, the challenges that we had over on Jackson Road.
Right.
So, not having first floor elevations here means that, we're not really controlling where that is relative to, so first things first, we got the rock. Second thing is, all the spoil that comes out of the foundation, they don't necessarily balance these sites, they just dig the stuff out and they push the soil out, so, pulling that whole thing up out of the ground a little further can drastically improve the amount of runoff away from the foundation and avoid water intrusion in the basements.
And then, exactly, and part of that, and if you could zoom back out, Doug, and that was part of our conversation as well, is looking, they gotta do some deep holes out there still.
Well, they haven't done any depots.
No.
It's not on
they're
here,
going to.
they're gonna do that, that was one of our bigger comments, so that
I-
would kind of bring up
I
your
can
finished
tell
floor.
8 inches of topsoil.
And something else. So that's part of our comment to them, and they are working to look at that right now. As he said, his engineer was away on vacation, which delayed getting you the standard responses that we're used to seeing at this point. Really, all you can do at this point is table this pending those responses to comments and revised plans, but overall, is the board comfortable and supportive of the layout of this?
Yeah.
What about the sidewalks again now? They don't need any sidewalks? Is that
A sidewalk exists on Baird Road, and the town's policy does require that if they are not gonna plan to put a sidewalk in on the frontage here along Legacy Circle, that they would seek a waiver from the town board. That would, in lieu of installing the sidewalks, it would contribute a set amount of money to our sidewalk fund.
being this a major road like that, is there gonna be a problem with the town board though? I mean, Bear Road, you guys put, the town put the sidewalks all on that side?
Yep.
And now they're not gonna have one between Legacy and all those new homes up in the corner?
No,
What do you
there
mean?
is
There is a
sidewalks
sidewalk
all
on-
along
on-
Baird Road.
Baird,
Yeah,
Already
on the
exists.
other side?
No,
Oh, on that side, yeah.
yeah.
no,
But they're just gonna stop it, then they're not gonna continue it?
they're only required for their frontages under
Right.
the town code,
So it would
so
only be,
all that's left is this gap on Legacy Circle, and Legacy Circle in
Doesn't
itself does
have-
not have sidewalks. So it would make sense in this application to request a waiver for it.
right.
Since,
Oh, it makes sense to ask for it, but I understand would the town be okay with it, you think?
Oh, yeah.
because the gaps you're speaking of, those fall to us.
And I think Legacy Circle also got a waiver as far as the sidewalks.
Yeah, there's nothing down in Legacy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, so they would've got a waiver
Bear
back.
Road is a major roadway for,
Well, right, so that's why it's all down Baird Road, but
Yeah, that's why they do exist on one side of Baird Road, and that's a great thing that they're there now, the sidewalks. But internally of Legacy Circle, because it's only, 17, 20 homes or something, whatever it is.
yeah, I'm talking about Bear, not on Legacy, I'm just talking about the two houses that are gonna be on Bear.
Yeah, they have.
Right, there
they
is
have
a
theirs-
sidewalk in front of
Okay,
them.
that's
Yep.
all I was asking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right now.
Okay, they're all set.
Yep, and this is where the two houses would be.
What's that structure
right on the lot line.
That's probably an inaccurately mapped line
Okay.
on our viewer. It's probably right against the property line.
Yeah.
But it looks like a carport, basically, or a temporary structure. And that looks like a garden that encroached a little bit.
Nah,
But
it's the
It's
viewport. The
yeah.
viewport's coming from an angle.
The aerial photos.
never lines up perfectly.
Yeah,
So where's the mound he
To
talked
give us an
about?
idea on that.
Pictometry.
Is it right there?
It's just
Yeah.
their
Oh,
GIS.
where'd we go?
Yeah, it's pictometry.
So,
Why'd
so
you
there's
leave that?
there's a tool that allows you to pull an axial image that's directly overhead. And
Can
it will align the boundaries.
Hang on, can you go back to where you were? So this is the mound.
And so he's gonna put the driveway to the west.
Yeah, there will be,
Two
he's
driveways.
proposing to put 2 driveways here along with those utilities to service lot 3 and lot 4.
What
That
would
would
separate the driveways?
Yeah, it looks like there's gonna be.
strip of grass, but he would have to encroach into that mound.
I was gonna say, there's not enough room there for 2.
Correct. He would have to encroach into it, but attempt to preserve whatever possible. Yeah, this is that landscape mound that he's talking about. And it is, I will say this, all that area is in the town's right of way. That has been maintained privately by the neighbors of Legacy Circle since its existence.
Would they then stop, do you think,
Stop what?
maintaining it?
No, I think they would work with
The new
work
people.
with the developer to preserve or restore this space after construction, and then it's up to the owners of Legacy Circle to see how they keep landscaping that.
Right.
I know people moved in, we've talked to a few of the neighbors there, they clearly have identified with this neighborhood and have appreciated this landscaping. I think they'll continue to maintain it because of, it's something they looked for as they moved into or constructed this.
George would contribute to that if you asked him to.
I think
He would.
Oh, and well, he put it on public record that he is looking to, maintain and preserve and
Yeah.
again, restore, what would have to be done here, for the construction of those homes and those utilities. But until he does his deep holes, he won't know what the extent of that work's gonna be.
Right, okay.
So we will table it, seeking the information discussed here tonight along with our PRC memo.
Maybe
And
start drafting, go ahead.
Yeah, draft approval resolution and move the table.
Okay.
One second.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian, Burton,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Stein.
All right. No other new business?
I took care of everything in the work session. Thank you
Old
for.
business?
thank you for
Anybody have
tagging
anything else
along.
to add?
Happy holidays to
All
all.
right. Merry Christmas, everyone, and we will adjourn. I have a lot of,